Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there are basically, as I told, there are four types of diodes which we are going to discuss. So to make it clear, I have just copied the figures. So first, we are having the photodiode. After that, we are having light emitting diode, that is LED. And after that, we are having photocoupler. So later on, we discuss about Zener diode. So first, we will discuss about the photodiodes. All these diodes are going to use the same principle of p-n junction diode, but the materials which are used for this particular diodes are different. For especially for these three, photodiode, LED, photocoupler, the materials which are used are different. Not silicon or germanium material cannot be used in these three types of diodes. So first we will take up photodiode. So photodiode is a light detecting device. So what it is going to do is it is going to convert the light's energy into electrical energy. When a light is going to fall on this kind of diode, that is photodiode, it is going to convert it into its equivalent electrical energy. That is, in general, light is converted into current. So this kind of process is done by a diode called photodiode. So before going to the working of the photodiode, let us understand the construction of this photodiode. So the construction of this photodiode has, so you can observe here, we are having a cathode layer which is made up of aluminum. So the cathode layer which is made up of an aluminum, and after that we are having an N plus layer and N layer, and we will be having a P layer. So here between the P layer and N layer, we'll be having a depletion layer. So why this depletion layer is so much wide? Because always this diode, which we are discussing now, will be connected in reverse bias condition. It will be connected in reverse bias condition. So that's why obviously the depletion region or depletion layer will be wide. After that, after having this N plus layer and N layer, we will be having an anti-reflective coating over the surface where the light is going to fall. This anti-reflective layer is made up of silicon nitride. So this will be made up of silicon nitride, and which is going to help in absorption of the light. See, when the light falls on this particular device, it should not reflect back. It should not go back. So that's why we are using this anti-reflective layer. If it is going back, we will lose some amount of the light. So whatever the light which is going to fall on this device has to be absorbed completely, and the equivalent of that light should be converted into electrical signal. And at the other end, the same way what we are having a cathode here, in the other end we'll be having an anode. Even that will also be made up of aluminum. Anode terminal, this is the cathode terminal. So it is projected like this to have the connectivity. So to have external connection, it will be like this. And also after this, and the other side, apart from this anti-reflecting layer, the other side, you can observe, the other side will be coated with silicon dioxide. So silicon dioxide will be used here. So this silicon dioxide will be acting like an insulator. So insulating layer. That means it is going to avoid the leakage of current or leakage of charges. The charges cannot come out of this. So whatever the charges which are produced inside this, produced in the sense are excited because of the light falling on the device, that will be within this layer only, and if it wants to go, it will be going through this anode or the cathode terminals only. So the rest of the part will be coated with silicon dioxide, which is going to act as an insulating layer. Insulating layer will always going to avoid the flow of charges. It is going to oppose the flow of charges. So the charges cannot penetrate through this insulating layer. So leakage of charges will be avoided. So this is the construction part of the photodiode. So we discussed about the construction part. So let us see how actually this is going to work. So this working okay, can see here PN, the normal in the circuit representation, we'll just write it as PN diode only. PN junction only will be showing, and you can observe here P layer. This is the photodiode which we are using. This P layer is connected to negative, and N layer is connected to positive, and we are having a load resistance here. Can you tell me how it is connected? Whether this diode is forward biased or it is reverse biased?
Reverse biased.
Reverse bias.
It is, yes, it is reverse biased. So now you can observe here. So there is some concentration over the depletion layer. See, all the light is concentrated over the depletion layer. This kind of symbol indicates the light is concentrated over the depletion layer. Here in the working of photodiode, the light which you want to convert it into electrical energy, that will be concentrated over the depletion region. And you know that whenever a diode is reverse biased, what happens to the depletion region, whether it will be narrow or wide?
Wide.
Wide, right? So this, and also we know that in the depletion region we will be having some amount of charges which have got stuck in the junction, because while moving across the junction, suddenly when we reverse bias it, some of the charges they have got stuck in the junction. So now our intention is to excite those charges and such that they start moving. So that movement is going to give the current equivalent of this light, which is going to be falling on the depletion region. And you know that light is a form of energy, which is going to the energy, it will be in the form of a tiny packets of energy called, what do you call them?
Photons.
Photons, right? Tiny packet of energy called photons. That energy will be used to excite the charges which are present inside this depletion region. So when those charges are going to fall on the depletion, when those light is going to fall on the depletion region, the charges which are present in this junction, those charges are going to excite and they start flowing. So the current starts flowing like this, and hence you will be having current across the load resistance. Now, why do we need this one? You can ask me why you want to make this diode reverse biased and have this much amount of current, and why can't you have the diode in a forward bias condition? And also one more thing, why can't you make this light to fall on the entire P and N layer? Right? So what will be your answer? So one thing is, why can't we make this diode forward bias so that we'll get more current? And why can't we make this light to fall on the entire PN layer so that we can get more current? Why we are going to concentrate on depletion region only? Any idea? Okay. See, first one, for answer to the first question is, we are not going to forward bias this, because if you forward bias this, don't need any excitation. Because of the biasing what we are giving, the current starts flowing, right? And also here our main intention is to convert the light to current. See, if you forward bias this diode, do you think that this light equivalent current will flow here? When you forward bias this diode, do you think this light equivalent current is going to flow through the circuit?
No, sir.
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
Then what will flow?
The forward current.
The forward current along with some the current which is excited due to light will also flow through the circuit, right? But our intention is what? I want to convert this light to current. That's it. I don't want any extra current. I just want this light equivalent current. When you want the light equivalent current, then you have to make the diode in reverse bias condition. When you make this in reverse bias condition, then the current, as you know, under reverse bias condition, you will be having very less current, reverse saturation current, which is going to flow and which is almost negligible. But when you are going to consider the light over the depletion layer, during that time, the current will start increasing under reverse bias condition. So this current starts increasing. So that current will be the equivalent current of the light. So let us take an example. You might understand better with this example. See, we are having a person A and we are having a person B. So both are using landlines. Okay, so both are using landlines and they are trying to communicate. Okay, so you might have already known that what kind of cables will be used in landlines for transmission of the signal. In landline, you know that it is wired communication. So what kind of copper? Okay, any other answer?
Fiber, sir.
It is fiber, optical fibers. So we are using optical fibers. Previously we were using copper. Now we are not using we are not using copper. We are using optical fibers. Okay. See, optical fibers are used to connect the different points in the wired communication. So you know that in optical fibers, will the current flow through the optical fiber?
Light flows through.
Only light flows, right? So if this person A and person B are using the landlines, they will be connected through optical fibers. Fine. Now, this person is going to speak. When he is speaking, during that time, he will be having his the headphone or the receiver. Okay. So that from that receiver, what is that receiver is going to do? It is going to convert sound energy to electrical energy, right? In the telephone, see, telephone is an circuit oriented device. It is a circuit. So do you think that in circuit light will flow? In telephone, will the light flows as an energy?
No, sir, current.
Current will flow. So whatever we speak, that is converted to electrical energy, and now the telephone is having electrical energy with it. That means now I am speaking with you all. So my earphone or headphone is going to convert my sound signal to electrical signal, and it is going to give it to my computer. Later on, it is going to, based upon what kind of connection I'm using, whether I'm using an wired or wireless. So based upon that, it is going to convert. But coming to this situation or this example, here they're using a landline phone, and now they are connected. The landline has converted the sound signal to electrical signal, and now it has to be transmitted to person B. Now, since they're using optical fibers, they need at this level, it has to be converted to light signal. So electrical signal has to be converted to light signal. So here we'll use a device which is going to convert electrical signal to light signal, and because of total internal reflection, TIR, so the signal is going to transmit and it is going to reach B. When it reaches B, so what should happen in order to receive the signal at B? Or if this landline has to convert that to sound signal, means what should happen first?
Light signal must be converted to electrical.
Yes, light signal has to be converted to electrical signal. Then that electrical signal will be converted to sound signal. Right? So from this, what we understood is, at this portion, at the sending end, we need a device which is going to convert electrical signal to light signal. At the receiving end, we need a device which is going to convert light signal to electrical signal. Seeing this example, can you tell me where we can use photodiode, whether at the sending end or at the receiving end?
Receiving.
Receiving it.
Yes. So we will be using the photodiode in the receiving end. So we'll be using at the receiver side. Since it's a bidirectional, again, even landline A will also be having a photodiode, because even when person B talks with A, he will also there also we need to convert the light signal to electrical signal. So here, suppose if this diode is forward biased, what happens? If it is forward biased, what happens? He will be not getting the actual signal. Actual signal is what? The light signal. That signal has to be converted to electrical signal, and in that electrical signal, the information is present, or the voice what he, or the information what he is giving out, that will be available in that light signal. If you are making this diode forward biased, during that time, what happens is, whatever the information is sending, that information will be lost, because the signal is different and the energy is different. So light and electrical signal should be the same. That means they should be equivalent. This is light equivalent, this is electrical equivalent. So when you are making this as equivalent, during that time, the information present will be same. So, and he will be getting the information what he is giving. So in order to do this, we need to just concentrate on the depletion region, because light signal will not create a very high, it will not give a very high energy. If you touch a optical fiber cable, you will not get shock also, nothing will happen, because there will be very less amplitude. The signal will be a very less amplitude. So we are just going to concentrate on the depletion region, not on the P layer or N layer. If we concentrate on P layer or N layer, we will be getting some other electrical signal which is not equivalent to the light signal. That is the reason. Okay, I'll explain the working, what you need to tell in this. So PN photodiode is going to be reverse biased, and the light is being concentrated on the depletion region, such that the electricals, such that the charges which are stuck in the junction, they are going to get excited and they start moving. Because of that, we'll be having the current. So that current will be the equivalent, electrical equivalent of the light signal which is being received. Okay, this is what the working of this. So the symbol for photodiode is this one. See, if you write simply like this, it is a normal diode. If you show the arrow mark, inward arrow mark, then it is photodiode. Okay, this is the symbol for photodiode. You should show this arrow mark. This arrow mark shows that it is a photodiode where the light is falling on the device. In LED, we just do the reverse of it, where the arrow mark is shown outward, because LED is going to give out light. That's why. Okay. So this could be explained by using the graph, VI characteristics graph. So you can observe that we are mainly concentrating on reverse bias condition. We are mainly concentrating on reverse bias condition because diode is reverse biased. And you know, the light intensity is measured in terms of lumens. So initially we are having a dark current. So which is dark current in the sense it is a reverse saturation current. Without the effect of light, or without the usage of light, some amount of reverse saturation current will be flowing. That current is known as dark current. Okay. So after that, when light falls on the depletion region, you can see that the current is keep on increasing, because along y-axis the current is increasing. So here 10,000 lumens per meter square. It depends upon how much amount of intensity is going to fall on per meter square area of the depletion region. So based on that, the current is produced. So this amount of current what we are getting, this current what we are getting, no, this current is because of 10,000 lumens of light is falling per meter square. Because of that, we are having this amount of current. So similarly, you can observe when the intensities keep on increasing, the current is also keep on increasing. So this is the VI characteristics of the photodiode. They can ask you in examination, explain construction and working of a photodiode with the VI characteristics. Just a minute. Okay, so they can ask you explain photodiode construction and working of photodiode with its VI characteristics. Then you have to explain all these things. So after this, so and these photodiodes are having many applications, like we can use it in CD players. You can see that optical in CD, when you put a CD into the CD driver, so you can see that an optical light is being passed, and the other end we'll be having a receiver. That receiver is the photodiode. So it is going to read the content in the CD. So even we'll be using it there, and we'll be using it in remote controllers. We'll be using it in cameras and many other places where we need to measure the intensity, or where we need to convert the light intensity into electrical energy. So after this, the next one is LED. So you are more familiar with this word. It is light emitting diode. So now it is common to have LED screens in all other places, in TV screen, laptop screens, mobile screens. Everywhere we are using the LED screens because of its clarity and all. So LED is a PN junction which is going to do the reverse process. It is going to do the reverse process of.
Hello, this is a call. You have approved entry.
This is the reverse process. It is going to do the reverse process of photodiode. So photodiode was going to convert light signal to electrical signal. LED is going to convert electrical signal to light signal. It is going to take electrical signal and it is going to give the light signal. That is the difference here. So in LED, so first we'll discuss about the construction. So in the construction of LED, for LED, we are going to use different materials like gallium arsenide, so which is GaAs, gallium phosphide, and gallium arsenide phosphide. So these are the three kinds of material that can be used in the construction of LED. So why we are using these materials? Why not silicon or germanium? See, only few materials have the capability of giving out the energy in the form of light. So in order to understand this, so we need to go back to the Bohr's atomic model. Can anyone tell me what happens when a signal is when an electron is excited to the higher orbit? That story, according to Bohr atomic model. What happens to that electron? What happens when it comes back? Just in a brief. Nobody knows. See, when you consider two levels, so there are, as you know, you know that there are two bands. One is the conduction band and the other one is valence band. Okay, so in the valence band, you'll be having all the charges present, holes, electrons are present. When an electron is excited or when an electron is supplied with an external energy, what happens to this electron? It will jump to the higher orbit. So here higher orbit is known as the conduction band. So it is going to jump to the higher orbit, and after that it stays in the higher orbit for some time. After that it is going to come back to its original state. While it is going to the conduction band, what it is going to do is its energy starts increasing. It starts acquiring the energy. When it moves from lower orbit to higher orbits, its energy starts increasing or it acquires more energy and reach the conduction band or the higher orbit. After some time, it has to come back to the lower orbit. While coming back to the lower orbit, what it has to do is it has to release the energy whatever it has acquired when it was jumping from lower orbit to the higher orbit. So if it has acquired energy A, just for an example, then it has to release that energy A while coming back to the lower orbit, that is valence band. So this energy can be in the form of heat or it can be in the form of radiation. So radiation means you know that it is light. Some materials some materials are going to liberate the energy in the form of heat. Some materials are going to liberate the energy in the form of radiation. Okay, silicon, germanium, this kind of materials are going to liberate the energy in the form of heat, and this gallium arsenide phosphide, gallium phosphide, this kind of materials are going to release the energy in the form of radiation. That means they are going to emit light. So because of this characteristics of gallium arsenide, we are going to use this in the construction of LED. So because of the characteristics of silicon and germanium, which is going to give the energy in the form of heat, we cannot use them as materials for LED because they are liberating heat. They are not going to convert, they are not going to give out light. Okay, so they are going to send, they are not capable of giving out the light. So that's why we cannot use them in LED. So this is the basic thing. And also one more thing, whenever an electron leaves the valence band, what will happen? What will happen? Whenever it is leaving, what will happen?
Holes are created.
Holes are created. So holes are created and electron is going to jump to the conduction band. So when again this electron is coming back to this valence band, it is going to occupy the vacancy, that is holes. This is known as recombination. So because of this recombination process, we are going to observe some amount of energy released. Energy will be released during this recombination process. So this energy which is released in this recombination process will be our radiation or light, which we are going to observe from LED. So this is the concept or the principle of LED, how it is going to work. Now coming back to the construction, here in the LED, we are going to have again P layer and the N layer. P layer will be at the top and N layer will be at the bottom. So it is epitaxial N layer, and this is the diffuse P layer, and we'll be having, just a minute. So here the P layer will be having a metallic film which is going to act like an anode, and for N layer we'll be having a gold film. Gold film will be coated. So we will be having a gold film which is going to be coated at the N layer. The main reason in order to coat the cathode with a gold film is, see, whatever the light which is going to be emitted because of the recombination, see, you can see that electron pulse. Because of the recombination process, the light will be liberated. So light will be liberated because of this recombination process. So this light has to be liberated, or it has to be concentrated in only one direction. If the light is going to, suppose, see, you have seen this normal LEDs like this. If the light is coming in the downwards also, what will happen? Is it useful if the light is coming downwards?
No, sir.
No, right? It has to come only in the front end like this. So since the recombination process takes place here, the light can be emitted in all the ways. So this light, if it comes in the downward direction or in the towards the cathode, it will be useless. So in order to divert entire light towards the other end, we'll be using this gold film cathode. So all the light will be concentrated on one side so that the light will not come on the other side, and light will be emitted through the anode end. So this is the diffusion, the recombination process what I explained here. So jumping of electron, coming back of electron, because of this continuous process, light is being emitted. And as you have seen, this is always forward bias. Remember, LED will be always forward bias. Why the LED will be always forward biased? Because we have how much our light is emitted, that is good for us, because that much stronger or that much good quality or the clarity we will be having, right? So that's why we'll be connecting this in a forward bias condition. But the photodiode will be connecting it in reverse biased condition. So this we will be using it in TV or the TV or remotes we'll be using, and we'll be using in calculators. Even you have seen it in traffic signals and in digital computer, digital watches, and you have seen we are using LED bulbs. So everywhere we are using this LEDs. So this is about the LED. So we have given one more figure in the book, which is going to explain the same recombination process, so that you can look in. After this, the last one is photocoupler. So photocoupler, this is the photocoupler. So photocoupler, this is the combination of LED as well as photodiode. So here we are going to use an LED, and here we are going to use a photodiode. The combination of both of them will give you photocoupler, Okay, so photocoupler usually it comes in the form of an IC, 6-pin IC, which we will be using in computers and wherever we require it. These photocouplers are going to do both the task, uh, as well as it is going to receive as well as send the signal. So in the photocoupler, as I told, see, this diode is connected like this. So can you tell me how this diode is biased, whether it is forward biased or reverse biased?
Reverse bias, sir.
Reverse biased. Hmm? When you connect positive to positive, negative to negative, it will become reverse biased.
No,
Forward
forward.
Forward biased. You look into this one. Negative is connected to positive, positive is connected to negative. So here what happens is in the photocoupler, so this actually the source is here we have, just for our understanding, we have shown it as battery. Actually this is the source. Suppose I am speaking, I am and my earphone, that is the source which is going to convert my sound signal to electrical signal. So that is the source which is going to act like a battery, and that is going to give the energy, the electrical energy to the diode, and that diode is going to emit the energy in the form of light. Through optical fiber cables, this light will be transmitted to the other end. So at the other end, we'll be having a photodiode, and that is going to absorb the light, and it is going to produce equivalent current across the load. So this is the principle actually. This is the principle, but actually this is how we'll be having it in our real-time application. You can see that there are 6-pin ICs present. So the first pin, it is the data power coming from the digital pin. So whatever the data you need to transmit, that data will be given to pin number 1, and pin number 2 will be connected to the ground, and 3 will be left as it is, and this is the LED. So the incoming data, incoming information will be converted into the form of light energy, and it will be transmitted to the sensor, light sensor. So light sensor is going to absorb this light energy, and it is going to convert it into electrical signal. So whenever you'll be having an electrical signal, during that time, see, this is a switch. So this switch is going to close. Whenever it detects electrical signal, this switch is going to close, and that signal is going to be given to pin number 5 as well as pin number 4. In the other times, whenever there is no signal, so during that time it will be open, the switch will be open. So this is how the photocoupler is going to work. These photocouplers are used in the modern communication, in power control application, and in switching application, and in switch mode power supply, that is in the power supply units, we'll be using this kind of photocouplers. Okay, so this is about the different types of diodes which we are having.